Hey everyone, it's Velo here. Welcome to the first official part of my Decades build series. And first of all, I just want to say that I'm not an expert. I don't know everything, and some things I say might be wrong, so please don't come at me. If you know that I say something wrong, you can of course correct me. I am very open to that, but if I say something wrong, please don't be mad at me. But today we are starting from the 1890s, and I decided to build this very colorful Victorian Queen Anne rowhouse. So Queen Anne is a type of Victorian house that is very extra and kind of cottagey, kind of different from some other Victorian styles. Here are some pictures that I referenced, and I especially love these very bright and colorful ones. I think those are mostly a thing in the southern US. I think like I saw most pictures that I saw and found were from San Francisco and stuff like that. So there are other types of Queen Anne's as well, at least what I could figure out from my little research that I did. But I'm especially loving these very colorful ones, and I decided to build this row house style Queen Anne. Yeah, so I took inspiration from the picture you saw, and then for the exterior anyway, and then I took the layout or the floor plan from another picture, and I didn't first realize how the floor plan was supposed to work. Now I think the floor plan that I was referencing was in 3 floors, and this is only 2 floors, so it's not completely accurate. Basically, both of the levels should be 1 level higher, and the kind of the second level should be the main level, which in this case it's not. But yeah, otherwise I took the layout from there, so it's only 1 level lower than it should be and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this house, and I love the result. Not all of it, it could be better. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I really like the exterior and the downstairs. I think those turned out very well, and yeah, I used a lot of CC that I found, more than before I think, and I am getting deeper and deeper into the build and buy CC pit. So yeah, I think I will be trying to do this series so that I do 2 builds per decade, and for one of them I use as much CC as I want, and then for the other one I use no or very minimal CC. I think that will work for me very well. So this is the first house of the 1890s. I struggle with the years to say them because English is not my first language, so sorry if I'm saying them weirdly or something. But yeah, so it's a late Victorian house, and this is definitely one of my favorite architectural types ever. And I'll tell you a little things about Queen Anne's. So basically it's just a name for this kind of a house. I think it was kind of frowned upon by the art world or architects when it started becoming popular. I read an article where they said that someone had called them hodgepodge or something like that. They didn't realize what it was all about, and it wasn't really about anything. It was just about building a nice looking home. I think at the time it was very usual to have houses that were very grand and had all kinds of different purposes and stuff like that, but this was more just kind of a fun house, I think. I'm not sure exactly, of course, what the architects behind these houses were thinking, but that's the impression I got. And of course, in a Victorian house, their characteristics are usually being ornate and having these towers, or what are those called? Yeah, I guess just towers and fancy exteriors and stuff like that. But what I think what I think stood out for me in this particular style is the color. So definitely the more colorful style of Queen Anne's. And yeah, then the layout is very typical to a southern row house, I think. Like I said, I based it on an actual floor plan, so I think it turned out pretty realistic if you don't take into consideration the like floors thing that I talked about. But otherwise, I think it's very realistic and functional, and this is for one family with up to 4 people, or a household up to 4 people anyways. And yeah, it's in 2 floors, and when we go inside, I really like the downstairs, but for now we're still on the outside, and I just add like every little detail I could think of, especially the roofs. I was having a lot of fun with the roofing. It took me a while, so I cut some of it out, but I really wanted to make them as ornate as I could. And then for the color scheme, I went for similar color scheme as in my reference picture, which was the like turquoisey blue paneling and pink roof rim and stuff like that. I thought it was super cute. And now we are onto the interior, and like I said, I use a lot of CC. I found more like historical CC, and I just had to use basically everything that I got. I was trying here in the kitchen to use the vampires counters, but to be honest, I've used those so many times that I'm getting a little bored. And I had gotten this kitchen set. I think the creator was called Shino KCR, and it only comes in this one swatch, which was a little bit unfortunate. I was thinking it was a little bit too dark. I would have liked more of a mid-toned brown color, but I thought it was too pretty not to use, especially because those cabinets had that like glass, that very fancy glass doors. You know what I mean? So that was very accurate, and I thought it was just a very nice kitchen, especially because the fridge was kind of just a cabinet, and that especially I would love to see more of. I think I will look for some other CC like that as well, because when you're doing historical builds, like at this point, I don't think there are like fridges that work on electricity. Like the fridges at this time would be just like cabinets with ice in them, like literally ice in them, or you would use some other method to cool down or store your food. I'm not too sure about that, but I think at least in the countryside there were no fridges and stuff like that. So yeah, I really liked the kitchen set I used, and I love the kitchen. I think it's super cute and stuff like that. And then in the downstairs there's this little tiny half bath. I couldn't fit a sink in there, and I don't know if they would have a sink in there realistically either, but there's a kitchen sink, and then there's a sink in the upstairs. So and I think I do put one more sink like outside the toilet, because the Sims were actually going upstairs instead of the kitchen to wash their hands after they had used the downstairs kitchen. That was annoying me, so I put another in, I think, like just this tiny CC one that's only like coming from the wall kinda. And yeah, I didn't know what I would do with the entrance area at all, so I put some things down and then I just kind of leave it for a while and I move on to the living room. Yeah, as you can see here, I used the movie hangout door. I know it's not maybe the best one, but it worked really well on the outside. If I could have like changed the interior color, like the color on the inside of the door, inside of the house, yeah, well, whatever, you know what I mean, I would have changed that. But from the outside, the like all of the exterior things were supposed to be very fancy and colorful, so I thought that was the best option that I had. And yeah, here are side by side, there's the living room and this is the dining room. And I was trying here to do this kind of a extra decorations on the paneling with this Get Famous thing. The thing itself was too big, and then I did actually use kind of the shadow of it to create this illusion of like more detailed paneling, and then I put like lamps on it so that you can't see the thing that well. I think it works out pretty well. And then of course here in the living room, the fireplace is the like centerpiece, and then there's just some bookcases, some seating, and a globe bar because of course why not. It fit there perfectly. And yeah, I was gonna use these CC couches, but I decided not to. I will use them in a build later. They will fit in that much better. And so I just went with these base game couches and some not quite matching armchairs, but I thought they went together well enough. And anyways, like during this time, it was very common to mix different patterns and to have different kinds of sets and stuff like that. And yeah, I made sure also that all the woods I was using were pretty dark because that was very, very much the style. I could have maybe used even more of that wood paneling I use in some bits on the walls, and like do some more like wooden shelving units and stuff like that, but it wasn't such a big build, so I just kind of went with normal furniture instead and just used a lot of like these little tables and shelves and stuff like that on these wallpapers that are also CC. I can't remember who they are by, but I think they're on my Tumblr. I think that's where I found them, so they should be on my Tumblr, and I will link that down below. So if you are interested in any of the CC that I use, most of it should be linked down below. And yeah. And more about kind of the interior. This is kind of a different kind of house to some other Queen Anne houses because it's a row house, so the floor plan needs to be a very specific kind. But it was said in that article that I read that the Queen Anne houses, especially in North America, broke away from the ordered rooms and formal floor plans. So I figured that meant like not having specific like many sitting rooms and in a specific order or something, and also having a more open plan maybe. And one thing that was said that was really kind of bumming me out was that a very characteristic thing to have, like in all Victorian houses, was to have very detailed sitting areas on like staircase landings, and that was pissing me out because we can't do that in The Sims. And like most things I'm able to do but by just finding a CC piece that suits the theme and the colors and stuff like that, but I can't modify the staircases. So yeah, especially during the Victorian era, like every picture that I found, there is a staircase landing or 2 or 3, and the stairs are very complex and not straight at all. So yeah, that just kind of reminded me of the lack of options we have for staircases. But for this house it works because it's a row house, but for many different builds it would have been very hard to integrate it, and I've had problems with it before. So but yeah, that's just, I really hope they patch that very soon. I think it will be coming, a staircase update and stuff like that, but it could be a while because I think it's hard to do. But yeah, I think it's coming and I really do hope so. And this room back here is a family room, and I'm not sure like what exactly is the function of a family room or what it was like in the 1890s especially, but it was in the floor plan and I decided to just make it kind of a more casual living room. I even put some toys in. I think there's a chess table and stuff like that. It's a little too contemporary. I think like it could be a much newer room as well, but I just couldn't figure out what I should do. Like I should have like changed the room entirely to make it better, so I just kind of left it like it is. It's not like completely wrong, but it's not as good as I'd like to. And yeah, the same kind of goes for the upstairs. For the downstairs and the exterior, I was like very focused and I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I spent a lot of like time and I really had some good ideas. But as I go to the upstairs, it was already getting quite late and I was kind of running out of motivation and ideas. And yeah, so the upstairs, I'm not sure if I like it as much as I do the rest of the house, but it's okay as well. I think the main problem was that like kind of the second floor entryway should be the main entryway, but in this house it's not. It's kind of this additional entryway that has no function. So I was very confused about what to put in the entryway or in the like lobby of the second floor, but I think it ends out fine. It's not perfect, but it's fine. And then we have this bathroom here and 3 bedrooms, and I imagine this is a wealthier family, so they have running water and indoors plumbing and also heating. I put some of those vampires radiators in, so yeah, they have lots of those luxury things that weren't that common. Like I think it was common to have like running water in the cities but not in rural areas, and then I think having heating was quite luxurious. Like usually you would only have fireplaces, and yeah, that would be it. But yeah, here are 2 bedrooms and both of them are single bedrooms. In the end here I deleted one of the beds, and this room is quite the color scheme's very blue and some whites and blacks, but it's a very girly room. There's a small vanity that I made out of like separate items, so it's not functional. And then I also do this kind of a window seat out of separate pieces. I couldn't find a seat that I was happy with. I had these built in pieces by Peacemaker, but they were looking a bit too contemporary, so here's what I did for that. And otherwise I just put in a set of drawers and some paintings and some just decorations. And for the upstairs, I actually kind of forgot about like adding drapes around the beds. That was very, very common in the Victorian era, and like as I was building this, I was kind of wondering like there's something missing. Like I was thinking that, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And then as I was editing this, I actually realized that, and I went back in game and added some little drapery around the beds because that just made it look so much more accurate and realistic. I couldn't do like full on drapery surrounding the beds. I would have had to like delete all the walls and put them back in, but I do put in some drapes around the like ends of the bed, so in this room and in the master bedroom, and yeah, it looks much better like that. And yeah, there's a couple of toys there, so maybe it's a kid or a teenager. And this is another bedroom. It's a little bit more toned down than the 2 other bedrooms, so it could be for a guest or servant or someone who's renting the room, but it's not like drab, so maybe it's for another kid, maybe someone who's a young adult but hasn't left home yet or something like that. But yeah, it's quite a small and basic room, so it could also be a room that they rent or something. And here I use this kind of window seat thingy again. It's not actually a window seat, it's a table by Illogical Zimmer combined with this seating thing by Peacemaker. I don't think it works because I had to lift it up, so I don't think it works, but it looks very nice. Like they fit together perfectly and I was very happy with that. And here is the master bedroom, and I don't know, this was the hardest room to make. I had no idea really what to put in, and it ends up looking kind of weird. Like some of the things are way too contemporary, while some of them are very historically accurate. So I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I do like it. I was mainly having problems with finding the right bed. I don't like that one. I need to go look for some CC beds for sure. And then I just put some seating near the window and some dressers and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, and I did put this zebra rug in here. I thought that was a little bit extra. I was imagining like, well, this is kind of like a middle class family because it's not a huge house, but it's certainly a more luxurious house than some might be. So yeah, I was imagining maybe one of the parents is like kind of bougie, kind of wanting to appear more or richer than they actually are, and they have some nice things, but it's not like a huge house. So I thought that they would have some of those kind of pretentious things like a zebra rug or something. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. And here is the upstairs like landing or entrance area, and I decided to put this painting things in this easel and some canvases. Because I couldn't fit in a study. Maybe I could have, but then I just didn't think it made sense. So I don't think they would actually have this in the hallway unless they actually had to. But you know, I had to. I don't know anymore what I'm saying, but you know, I think usually the kind of entrance areas would be kept very neat and clean and classy, so that when visitors came in, they would see only the best parts of the house. So I don't think they would have that kind of a nook there realistically, but you know, it's The Sims, so I thought that was fine. And then we are just doing the landscaping. I based the landscaping on another picture that I saw where there was this white picket fence, and it was in some like southern state in the US, I think, because the vegetation, yeah, was very southern. There were like palm trees and stuff like that, and it was very kind of not overgrown in a bad way, but kind of overgrown looking in a good way, in a stylish way, and I really loved how the fence was, so I kind of copied that. And then there's just a little garden on the back side, and yeah, like I said, I thought this was a row house, so basically there would be other houses like this like next to the house very near. So even this kind of garden, it's kind of wide. I think it wouldn't be that wide, but you know, the lot wasn't big enough to make it be in the other direction, so I decided to do that. But yeah, there would probably be a similar house on both sides of this lot if this was an actual house. And yeah, I just think it looks very, very cute. So here at the back I did put in laundry. Apparently I put laundry in every build, no matter what I'm building, but you can just delete it or something like that. I just thought that was very realistic to have that very rustic and kind of old-fashioned, like what's that? The thing where you wash the laundry outside. Anyway, that's what I did. And a little seating area and just those planter boxes that you saw there, and yeah. And just a little porch. I didn't put anything there. I couldn't figure out what to do there, so I just left it, and some more vegetation, but otherwise we are pretty much done with this build. And like I said, I really like it, and I know it's probably not the best, but I had so much fun building it. And please tell me what you thought of it, and yeah, I will be continuing the Decades build series very soon. I have it planned quite far, so I'll be back very soon. Here are still the screenshots. It was actually very hard to get good screenshots. I ended up moving this lot to Oasis Springs, but the sun was still shining from a wrong direction and stuff like that. But you know, I think it's fine. And here you can see the kitchen. It's one of my favorite rooms ever. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I will post more videos exactly like this very soon. And yeah, I hope you like this series, and I will see you all very soon again. Bye bye!